If you have a Tenda router sitting in your home office, you need to listen up. 3 new critical exploits were just made public, and they're basically a roadmap for taking over the device.
I'm Morgan, and that's Alex. It feels like we're talking about Soho routers every other week lately. Let's break down why these Tenda flaws are hitting the radar now.
So we're looking at 3 specific vulnerabilities in the Tenda F453, specifically version 1.0.0.3. They all fall under the same umbrella: buffer overflows. We've got CVE 2026-3376, CVE 2026-3377, and CVE 2026-3378.
Wait, 3 different buffer overflows in the same version? That sounds like someone did a deep dive into the firmware and just started finding holes everywhere.
That's exactly what happened. The flaws are in the go form functions, specifically from safe MAC filter, from safe URL filter, and from QoS setting. Essentially, an attacker can send a manipulated argument to these pages and overflow the memory buffer. Since these can be triggered remotely, it's a straight shot to executing code on the router.
And the scary part is that the exploit code is already public. We've seen this movie before. Once the exploit is out there, botnets like Mirai or even state-sponsored groups like Volt Typhoon start scanning for these devices within hours.
Exactly. Routers are the perfect target because they sit right on the edge of the network. If you own the router, you own the traffic. For the Tenda F453, the CVSS score is sitting at an 8.8, which is about as serious as it gets for a consumer-grade device.
It's that classic set it and forget it problem. Most people buy a router, plug it in, and never check for a firmware update again. If you're running that F453, you really need to check if there's a patch, or, honestly, consider if it's time for an upgrade if the vendor isn't pushing fixes.
Right. Moving away from hardware for a second, there's a big shift happening in how smart TVs handle our data. Samsung just reached a settlement with the state of Texas over how they collect viewing information.
This is a huge win for privacy advocates. Texas was basically saying Samsung was collecting content viewing data without express consent. This reminds me of that Vizio settlement years ago. I think it was 2017, where they got caught doing something very similar.
It's the same playbook. Under this new agreement, Samsung has to stop the unlawful collection and actually get a clear yes from users in Texas before they start tracking what you're watching. No more burying the consent in a 50-page terms of service agreement or using pre-checked boxes.
I wonder if this will trigger a domino effect. Usually, when a big state like Texas or California forces a change, the companies just apply it nationwide because it's easier than managing 50 different regional settings. It's a reminder that our smart devices are often just data collection hubs with a screen attached.
Speaking of things we trust a bit too much, let's talk about Chrome extensions. There was one called Quick Lens, search screen with Google Lens, that just got yanked from the Chrome web store.
Quick Lens. I think I've seen that one. It had thousands of users, right? What happened? Was it malicious from the start, or did it get hijacked?
It looks like it was compromised. Once the attackers got control, they pushed an update that included malware designed to steal cryptocurrency. But the delivery method is what's really interesting. They used something called a click fix attack.
Wait, click fix? Is that the one where a pop-up tells you your browser is broken and gives you a fix to copy and paste into your terminal?
That's the one. It's a clever bit of social engineering. It tells the user to press Windows R, paste in a command, and hit Enter. To a regular user, it looks like a technical fix. In reality, they're manually running a PowerShell script that installs a credential stealer. It bypasses almost all browser-level security because the user is the one executing the code.
It's brilliant in a terrifying way. It turns the victim into the threat actor's hands and feet. We've seen this pattern with fake Google Meet or Zoom updates too. If an extension you've used for months suddenly asks you to run a script to fix your browser, that is a massive red flag.
And finally, we have to talk about what's happening in Mexico. There's been a major cyber attack on the Mexican government, and the headline here isn't just the 150 gigabytes of stolen data. It's how they did it. They weaponized Claude Code.
Claude Code? That's the new developer tool from Anthropic, right? It's basically an AI agent that can write code and execute commands in your terminal to help you build apps faster.
Exactly. And hackers realize that if it's good at building apps, it's also very good at breaking them. In this attack, they used the AI to write custom exploits on the fly, create data exfiltration tools, and automate the entire process of moving that 150 gigs of data out of the government's network.
This is a huge shift. We've been theorizing about AI-powered attacks for a couple of years, but this is a concrete example of hackers using a legitimate, high-end AI tool as a force multiplier. It's like they hired a senior developer who works at lightning speed and doesn't ask questions about the ethics of the project.
It's the ultimate living off the land technique. They aren't bringing in suspicious, custom-made hacking tools that might get flagged by antivirus. They're using a legitimate developer tool that might already be on a workstation. It makes detection incredibly difficult because the activity looks like, well, it looks like a developer doing their job.
It really changes the math for defenders. If the bad guys can automate the exploitation phase with AI, the window we have to patch or respond just got a lot smaller. It's a lot to take in for one morning.
It is. If you're looking for a priority today, check those Tenda routers for updates, and maybe do an audit of the Chrome extensions your team is using. Those click-fix attacks are becoming way too common.
Your daily AI-powered security briefing. If this saved you time, subscribe. We're here every morning.
Stay patched, stay paranoid.